Howdy. It's been some time, hasn't it? And firstly, there's not been much to make videos about, really. But it's a good time to update my viewer on what's going on, because things have been going on in the background. One of the worst things is that the builders have moved in again. This time it's the house behind me, and the one thing about this country is you're never seemingly free of the noise of Kango hammers or tile cutters. And whilst I'm dreading, my next door house is empty now, so I'm dreading the builders moving into that. But the last thing I expected was the one over the back to be completely redeveloped, and a lot of it's been going on without my knowing. I must be honest, and I must acknowledge that fact. And but once they moved into the rear of the house and started, redeveloping the back and the kitchen, which butts up onto me, then of course all hell breaks loose. So I've been developing an alternate lifestyle over this last 2-3 weeks, and that is doing the thing I never did before, which is spending the days down here on the beach. And luckily I bought a beach chair quite a long time ago, so that was no problem. But the rest of it, food and whatever, well, I found a really nice spot which we'll kind of go to now. And this is it, underneath this tree here. It's just a perfect spot. It's in the shade for most of the day, and I've seen enough of the ocean to last me a lifetime. So it's ideal. And there's my chair, and I can sit down and ponder. And here we are, sat in the chair and just adjusting the exposure. I've got this super duper very fast lens on my little camera today, which I bought specially for vlogging, and there's so much light here now that if I want to run the lens wide open, which I do to get the depth of field, I have to have a neutral density filter on. So if you see me tweaking things a little bit, I'm just tweaking the neutral density filter. So anyway, where was I? Yeah, so I have to get out of the house every day. Most of the kangoing, I think, has now been done, although they were having a little go this morning before I came out. And the tile cutting, we're in the tile cutting phase now. That's not quite so bad. Anyway, I'm just a miserable old git. Everyone knows that. So I bought myself a flask so I can have hot tea on the beach, and now I'm into making sandwiches and bringing the sandwiches down to the beach. It's just like when I was a little boy and went to the beach with my mum back on the Isle of Sheppey. So that's okay, and I'm quite happy to sit under this tree here for most of the day. And sometimes I bring the boat anchor Canon camera down and take some stills. I'm going to have to get a long telephoto lens, but I'll start off by getting one for this small vlogging camera that I've got here. It's much cheaper than getting a very high quality like 200 or 400mm lens for the boat anchor. But with that, I can take surreptitious photos of girlies and stuff like that. And the work on the photo post-production is coming along well. I found a really good little free program which does most of what I actually want, but I am going to invest in a permanent license for darkroom, which is a little bit more complex, but I'm kind of getting the hang of it now, and I've been posting which you may have seen, some color corrected images online, and I'll turn this into a video. I'll take a few still shots today with this little camera and correct those up and run a little slideshow. I think that's what I'll do. Anyway, today was my 90-day reporting day, and so I decided to do it online. So I've put that in online. Let's hope that gets accepted all right. I'm still waiting for my new UK passport, being very slow with that, but anyway, I'll keep you posted on that. And well, that's about all I've got to report for now. That's about all that's going on in my life. Not much, but I'm retired. Not much of a life. But I don't know, if I was back in the UK, well, I'd be moaning like the rest of them about the astronomical, horrific temperatures they're about to get, which are about the temperatures you get here most every day, you know. But the Brits just aren't set up to deal with it. The big problem is that only about 3% of British houses have got air conditioning. So while we say, oh, those moaning British bleeders, you have to acknowledge the fact that here and back in Arizona, where it gets a bloody sight hotter, we all have air conditioning. They don't. So it must be absolutely horrific getting a decent night's sleep. I know that I wouldn't like to have to sleep in 30-degree temperatures with only a fan. Well, most Brits haven't even got a fan. Of course, even if they had air conditioning, they're moaning over there that they can't afford now the energy to keep their houses warm in winter. So now they've got a whole different problem. They've got to keep them cool in summer. And air conditioning uses a damn sight more electricity than house heating. So, and of course the British infrastructure isn't set up. Imagine that overnight 100% of British houses had air conditioning in. The national grid wouldn't be able to supply the power. So there's all sorts of things need to be thought out about this, for sure. So anyway, that's about the end of my my situation report and mini rant. So I'll leave you in peace. I'll take a few photos, and we'll kind of make up a little crude movie. Well, it won't be crude, but you know what I mean. So anyway, there you go. Cheers. Here's the first of our beach photos taken, and you can see this is from the original RAW file, and it all looks pretty uninteresting, but RAW files are very large and they're not normally seen by the general public, but they contain a hell of a lot of information. This is after I'd had a go at it. You can see that it's very easy to just go over the top and make it look like a 1960s seaside snap, but it's much more interesting. But to note here, even on the original file, the girl on the swing is out of focus, my bad. And you can see that at bottom left I've removed, painted out the lady's extraneous foot and some vegetation. And this is what I mean by 1960s photograph or seaside postcard. It's very indicative, in my humble opinion, of what photos look like in those days. Just brilliant, bright, slap you around the face colours. I could go on for hours about this photo. It comes from a man called Trevor Edwards, who has a really fantastic website of photos from my old hometown of the Isle of Sheerness, where I was brought up and educated. But something caught my eye. Check out the man and the lady in the bottom left-hand corner. Now this was supposedly taken in the 60s, and it looks like it for all the world, but those two look spookily like my Auntie Rose and my Uncle Perce, who lived in London and used to come down to visit us during the summer for holidays. And this is really the wrong end of the beach for them, but if it is them, then that would be my pram right by them. But for that to be true, this would need to have been taken in the very early 50s, and I don't think the fashions support it. But it's just such a tempting, hypothesis to make. How spooky is that? They're so like my relatives that I can't possibly think they could be anyone else. Anyway, I had many a wonderful trip on the Silver Star, right out and round the wreck, and I wonder where she is to this day. I don't know, but anyway, great memories. Back to reality. Here's a good example. This is a nice beach scene. I'd really like to get rid of the guy in yellow, but I'm not quite up to that yet. But here we go. After a small bit of adjustments here, it just looks much nicer. I've straightened the image out and adjusted the colours, the vibrance, and all sorts of stuff. Now here is a scene under trees in deep shadow. I just included this one. This is from the raw CR3 file, and this is after I've had a little go at it. Have to be careful because it's bringing the noise up something wicked, but anyway, it looks better. Well, it's been quite a pleasant day down here today, and back to the old lens now. So whatever difference that makes. So just a quick close. I'll be going home soon. It's about 3 o'clock now, so take me about 15 minutes to get home, 20 depending on the traffic, and see what's waiting for me. I suspect Sid will be there, be running around after me, blethering away in Thai, expecting me to understand it. It's quite amusing really, but it gets on my tits after a while. But anyway, he's a good man, and he's doing the garden for me today, so I must not complain, though I will anyway. So I hope you enjoyed the little video, and once I've colour corrected the photos that I've taken today, I'll include those in. I'll put in the raw versions straight out of the camera, and what I end up doing to them afterwards to tart them up. Knowing me, they'll all end up looking like 1960s saucy postcards, but nothing much wrong with that. I like the colour. I like the colorimetry of 1960s photos. It's very, very distinctive, you know, big, bright colours. Epitomise. You watch an old episode of the Banana Bunch, which was an American TV series. I think made for kids really, but it had quite an adult cult following. You watch that and it uses the same, you know, crushed out, bright primary colours only, no subtlety. Colour-wise, it's like being slapped round the face. And that's kind of, to me, that's typical 1960s. And if you had a film camera now and you went and put Fuji color film into it, it would look the same, unless they've changed Fuji film over the years. But Fuji film always came out with those really bright colors that personally I like so much, because, well, it just reminded me when I was a kid. You were a kid in the 60s, and the whole world suddenly changed from the black and white of the 1950s into brilliant colours of the 60s. That's the way I remember it. Anyway, we'll see. Take care. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye. So what did I say yesterday about my 90-day report, doing it online? Well, that's the biggest mistake I ever made. Now, in the past, it's never been a problem. But this time it was. They rejected my renewal. Why? Because they say my address doesn't match the one on their records. Well, my address hasn't changed. They put a new form on the website, and I suspect, and luckily I printed out what I'd sent them, and there was a new entry there for the owner's name, which I put the owner's name, which is Noy, in that, and it's run that into the first line of the address with no space, and I suspect that that's what's caused it. I hope so anyway. But now I've got to go to immigration, and I'm hoping I can get it sorted out, you know, here at Patong, and they open at 10 o'clock this morning. So I'm going to go down there with fingers and toes crossed. I'm just hoping like hell I don't have to go to the main immigration office. You never know with these people, you know. Bastards. Anyway, I'll keep you informed. Just one thing after another, really. Like last night, I wasted virtually the whole night trying to get my iCloud photos synchronizing between my iPad and my PC, something that was working perfectly a couple of days prior. And in the end, in desperation, I got it half working, but in the end, in desperation, I switched it off and went to bed. Spent a sleepless night. This morning, I switched it all back on again, and it's synchronized perfectly, including the raw files, which they didn't used to do. Anyway, you know, it's just a mess. So I'll keep you informed. Cheers. Well, quick update. I went down to immigration at 10 o'clock this morning and handed my passport in. They told me that their printer was kaput, come back in an hour. So another hour to worry, oh my God. Went back at 11 o'clock and it was done. So that's good. It's just typical of me to hope for the best and prepare and fear the worst. But this gave me a sleepless night for nothing. But I was really worried that this online cock-up had put some kind of red flag on my whole visa. You know, hence the stern instruction, go to the head office, room 101, you know, but I just went here instead, and they just gave me an updated piece of paper to put in my passport to say that I'd done my 90-day report. It's strange, really. It seems that I was telling this to someone a couple of days ago, that I've been dealing with immigration in one form or another ever since 1991, when I first went to Hong Kong to work. I mean, I didn't need a work permit or anything, because Hong Kong was part of the UK then. Wonderful days, but I still had to do some stuff there. I can't remember what it was now, but the worst of all was America. I spent years and years dealing with the US immigration, and that was not pleasant. But it all went away once I became a citizen. But now I have to deal with Thai immigration, and they're not as bad as the USA, but they like to, you know, have a foreigner on the ropes begging for mercy, or begging for a visa if they possibly can. So anyway, this was my own fault. I should have checked the form properly before I submitted it. It was obviously corrupted and I didn't notice it. So next 3-month report, I'll probably do it online. I know I can get out of it and come here if necessary. So anyway, that's the end of the report, and the end of my ranty video. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't see why you should, but thanks for watching anyway, my valued subscribers. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.